What's going on, everybody? Sorry, a little bit of technical difficulties. I'm sure you might have heard. Maybe you didn't. I don't know. But we had a little bit
Little
of
bit
a
of
food
crosstalk.
incident
That's
here
all
at
right.
the. Huh?
I said a little bit of crosstalk. That's all right.
Yeah, no big deal. We had a little bit of a food incident here at the Billy Bob's Bed Studios. Now, although Billy Bob's Beds is still around, love it if they went away, right? Because they abandoned their crazy commercials that they used to have, and now it's not the same. Now it's just a bed company, so it's not all
Billy Bob,
inappropriate and
I'm headed
creepy.
your way.
Exactly. I've got something heading your way, right? Like
Yeah,
you don't get that kind of creepiness in advertising anymore, and I miss that.
so
So
inappropriate. You know,
Saj, obviously, right here.
and that same vein. That I am BD, and you know what? Today I'm gonna come at you from the my 39.95 optical studios because
Uh,
what's this creepy like hiring a hitman to kill your own wife?
I mean, sometimes you got to outsource things, especially if you're really busy in life. So I get it. I get it. You know what I mean? But yeah, so this is us. This is our show. This is the last show of the year, right?
That's
This is
right.
episode 92. Um, pardon me, that's disgusting. Um, we're coming up on obviously our 100th episode, and we don't want to ruin it without it being associated with something a little bit bigger. So we'll be taking some random weeks off and stuff. This week obviously will be our last week of the year. We're going to take off for Christmas and New Year's and just be
Yeah, I
lazy.
mean, who wants
And
to watch this on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve? People got better things to do. So
right. So we'll be taking a little bit of a hiatus, and then we'll be picking up after the first of the year, kind of getting through the the holidays and all that good stuff. And we'll pick it back up, right? That should be kind of closing in on the playoffs and everything like that in the NFL. And there'll probably be a couple of other weeks that we take off and getting us ready for UFL kickoff. So lots of stuff going on. So uh sorry, I'm trying to share and talk and type at the same time, and it's a little bit crazy. But obviously we've got a lot to talk about. So why don't we kick things off? Obviously, we're here to talk about the NFL. And BD, I think you should probably regale our guests with some talk about what turned out to be a surprising win against the Carolina Panthers.
I mean, I don't exactly know if I would call it surprising because it is Carolina. I mean, they've lost probably 80% of their games this year. Would I've been surprised if the Cowboys lost? Not really, but I mean, they've looked good against bad teams this year. Cooper Rush had a pretty good game. 200 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Uh, Man, Uncle Rico. I've been dogging on him all year long, but I think these last 3-4 games, he's gone over 100 yards each game. I know three games for sure, and it may be 4 games in a row he's gone over 100 yards. So he may actually be kind of finding his stride as a running back. And you know, I mean, this season's is a lost hope, but might be good for next year. So. CD had a good game, over 100 yards, 1 touchdown. I didn't watch this game. I was actually uh, visiting our buddy here, Rig Rockers. I went to Houston to go see the Texans and Dolphins game. So I was kind of following the game along, just on my phone during the game I was at. But you know, again, I'm not impressed. It's Carolina. You're supposed to win that game. Uh, I don't care. I'm kind of bummed that we did win it because now it's a worse draft pick.
True. I I get the sentiment. I understand that this is one of those games where um, it would be embarrassing if you did lose, but I kind of also agree with you that this is a game you probably should have lost for the simple fact of holding out for better draft picks.
Yeah.
Um, I I think I would have held out um, some of the key players, right? Because correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you have somebody that just got dinged up pretty good the last
So,
game?
well, Overshaw, he got hurt, and I mean he tore ACL, MCL, PCL. So obviously he's out for this season. He's going to be out for next season as well. Trayvon Diggs had knee surgery. They said he's probably got about an 8 to 9 month recovery for that. He just had that surgery a few days ago. I think Friday, Saturday, maybe. Um, so his recovery is probably going to go, into training camp, maybe even into the first part of next season. Um, you know, I defense, we've been getting some guys back and others have gotten hurt. It's been one of those seasons. So, you know, it is what it is.
It has definitely been a rough season for Cowboys fans. I'm not gonna lie. Um, I think I think again the right choice would have been to save the talent that you guys have rather than putting them in these meaningless games that really only ultimately come back and hurt you, right? Um, but I mean, at this point, what can you do? It's out of our hands as fans. We can't really tell the team and the coaches what to do. Uh, right here, boom, right?
Yeah. I
Just like
mean,
what you
they're
said.
kind of doing that by default with some of the players that have been out. So, you know,
True.
I just I who we're playing who are we playing? Oh, we're playing Tampa this week. So we'll probably lose that one and I'm cool with that. Uh but
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't disagree with you. But it's just it's the stats obviously are somewhat misleading, right? That whole first quarter, it was just kind of back and forth. Nobody's really doing much of anything. And then points started showing up on the board, and Dallas started looking like, they were somewhat of an organized team. And but it's against Carolina,
yeah.
right? Why couldn't some of these things have happened earlier in the season when it mattered? Um, so yeah, I mean, if I were in a coaching position, I would have talked to Jerry already and said, "Look, man, we're taking a chance on hurting our potential talent, uh, in the future, and let's tank the rest of the season, get some decent draft picks, really focus on some areas, really attack free agency, and let's build a team and let's get out there and actually do something for a change."
But it also
Yeah.
depends, what's going to happen with this coaching staff. Is McCarthy, does he have a guarantee of, him coming back next year, or is he coaching for a job right now? There is some chatter. I know 3 weeks ago or whatever, it was guaranteed McCarthy was going to be out. Now there's some chatter that, thoughts around the league are that he may actually come back. Um, I think it's true that he hasn't really had a fair shake to the season, obviously, with all the players being injured and stuff, but you've still seen coaching errors with the team that he had, which is one of my biggest issues with him. And not, oh, well, he doesn't have Dak or he hasn't had Parsons this whole season or most of the season. So, maybe give McCarthy a chance. I see that, but you still see the undisciplined, nature out of the players that are there. The stuff that a coach is supposed to take care of. So, right now, McCarthy
And
may not want to be, may not want to lose to set the team up for a future for a team he's not going to be a part of.
and I understand that. You're not necessarily wrong, but don't I don't necessarily agree with XFL Mike G's sentiment, right? While it's probably not the most desirable thing to do, most people should be playing to win the games. Um, but at some point in time, you've got to take assessment of your season. And, if you've already lost 6 games and you were essentially already eliminated from the playoffs, unless your division is just that bad, you may as well start thinking about the future,
Yeah.
right? And I understand, McCarthy is probably not thinking about the future other than, man, I got to win some games, so I'm going to be here in the future. Um, but again, that's why I think I would have had the conversation with the team owner and been like, "Hey, bud, here's the deal. Like
Like, yeah.
things
Hey,
just
if
are
you can
not working."
guarantee my place next year, I will throw every game and get us, the highest draft pick I can. And I mean, Mike G, you said the right player will fall to us. What's why don't we go get the right player? We move up in the draft and go get the right player. So yeah, I don't. Once you're out of the playoffs, I fully support tanking to get whatever kind of pick best kind of pick you can. So.
Yeah. Um, and Mike, I mean,
No, you
I
won't. No, you
I
won't.
disagree.
It's still Dallas. There's still the stadium is still full. It's he's not losing ticket sales. So
Yeah. People people are going to show up no matter what.
yeah, just for the spectacle of you know one of the Cowboys, the Jerry World, all that. It's and hey, let me see how badly this team's going to lose today. So yeah, there's no losing out on ticket sales right now.
Yeah, speaking
Every
of
every
ticket sales, I'm actually messaging somebody about UFL ticket sales right now,
uh
and we'll talk
uh
about that in a little bit.
yeah. Tell him to wait till after the show's over to text you. Come on now. That's rude.
Well, yeah, but
Uh
this guy, I don't even know if he knows that I'm doing a show.
well, yeah, I mean the tickets have already been sold for all the games. I mean the only place to get tickets really is aftermarket now. So yeah, there's no worry about losing ticket sales at all.
Okay. Um, pardon me. Uh, Sorry, trying to get back into things here. Tanking may be terrible, but I mean, the locker room is already lost, right? The team vibe is already bad. I mean, what are you expecting at that point, right? Um, you know, so I don't know about refunding tickets and things like that. I mean, come on, you bought the tickets, you have the tickets, you know the team is bad, you're still showing up and
Yeah.
watching it. So why would you get a refund? You know the bad product that's on the table. But regardless of all that, right? Cowboys pulled off a win. Um, and sorry, people are texting and I guess I don't understand, but it's okay. Um, Anyways, Cowboys got the win, and so now they creep up to 6-8. Um, if they keep going on this trajectory of getting wins, they might wind up 8-9 or 9-8. You know,
Yeah.
uh, and then that really doesn't bode well for your season. So, but it is what it is. Um, some other interesting games around the league. Obviously, Green Bay played Seattle, and our friend Mr. Mayor came in and was saying that the Packers had something to worry about with number 99, who I can't remember offhand who number 99 is. Um, but for the most part, we didn't really have much of a problem with that team. I mean, we put up 14
No.
in the first quarter. Now, what we did have a problem with is staying consistent on offense, right? Because Seattle did actually show up a little bit on defense in the third quarter. But more importantly, Green Bay defense became Green Bay defense again and fell apart. I they managed to pull it back together, right? And kind of keep it fairly scoreless for the most part. It was just that fourth quarter again. And I Jair Alexander, uh, they, I mean, he's a key part of the defense. He didn't play this game. Everybody was kind of worried about how things were going to go, and like I said, the first half, pretty dominant. Um, I got a feeling that our defense would have done exactly what they did in the situation like they did, and they would have let that fourth quarter start getting kind of sloppy. And I have to think that this kind of falls back a little bit on the defensive coordinator. I think we're getting not comfortable, but starting to play more conservatively. And the teams that we're playing, they have nothing to lose. So they start playing big, and we're not totally prepared for it. I'm seeing a lot of like coverages where receivers are wide open. I mean, come on, especially on, a third and six situation, something like that. Um, you don't leave people open. And we were getting eaten up. Now, that's not to take anything away from Seattle or Geno. Well, Geno Smith played for a while. Uh, that injury was extremely unfortunate. I have a feeling that um, we would have been in a lot of trouble had that not happened. But it seems like Howell came in and had not necessarily not necessarily better control of the team, um, but he seemed to get a little bit better results, right? So overall, again, we played a above average Seattle, right? Um, I don't want to take anything away from because they are kind of leading their division, um, or they were up until this point. Um, but an 8-5 team going up against a 9-4 team, um, it should have been a little bit more decisive if if the NFC North is that strong. And I just got a feeling that you know we managed to play another opponent that was already kind of beat up and beat them up some more. That's just kind of my honest take on it, And don't get me wrong, I love my Packers, um, but I'm seeing this team and I'm seeing the things that are happening, and I'm seeing Jordan Love is absolutely you know turning out to be a good quarterback, which we've talked about that before. Comparing his stats to like Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, and we all know what happened with those Hall of Famers. Um,
Yeah.
but at this point, um, it doesn't really matter if you have a potential Hall of Famer if he doesn't really have people to throw it to. Um, we need to work on probably getting the ball into Jacobs' hands a little bit more. I mean, 26 carries for 94 yards. His average is hovering right around 3 yards per carry. Um, and I'd like to maybe see a little bit more from him. Um, but overall, I mean, it was pretty decent production on offense. It's that defense, man. That defense has gotta we gotta play four quarters, man. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's enough ranting about the Packers. I was very happy to see that that Detroit lost. That was a phenomenal game.
That was a
Okay.
really good game. I was keeping tabs on that one as I was coming back from Houston, but that was, I mean, it was kind of it was the game that we all expected it to be. It was the last week the Bills and Rams was the highest scoring game of the season. Well, this week, you know, uh, pushed that one out. So this one was the highest scoring game of the season. And I mean, you'd expect nothing less from Bills and Lions. So the way those two teams have been all year round, it was just crazy. And I think Josh Allen, he still hasn't solidified it yet because we still got a few more weeks in the season, but he widened his lead for the MVP race.
Oh yeah, yeah. With Monday night's performance, I'm sorry, Monday night's performance. I'm looking ahead at the stupid Minnesota game. Um, Sunday's performance, he did it again, right? Two rushing touchdowns, um, and 362 yards in the air, right? Uh, and that's really sad when your quarterback has 11 carries for 68 yards and is carrying a 6-yard average on rushing.
Yeah.
He's just things are just working out that good. The offense is the offensive line is really holding that well to where when he needs to scramble, he's got room.
Yep.
And yeah. he's really solidified that run for the NFL MVP. But again, right, happy to see that Detroit lost because that gets us one step closer. Unfortunately, that also helped out Minnesota. Now, speaking of Minnesota, um, they had the Bears, right? Let's be honest, it's the Bears. Um, Played a heck of a game. Were in command pretty much the whole time. Um, I thought that even though the scoreboard shows differently, I thought Chicago looked better in the first half of the game than they did the second half of the game. And really, I mean, 18 to 31, 191 yards and one touchdown. That's not horrible for a quarterback. That's no way to win the game.
Yeah.
Um, but like Swift had 19 carries for 79 yards, so not bad. But I mean, again, right? We got to convert that into some kind of touchdowns, right? Keenan Allen had 82 yards of receiving and got a touchdown. Uh, he was targeted 13 times, caught six of them. This
Yeah, Caleb
Doomsday,
Williams, he missed on a lot of throws. And you saw, he's a rookie. And I think they talked about it in the game. You you see flashes of how good he can be, but you also see that he's a rookie. And I mean, he was kind of running for his life a lot last night. It was he took a
it
couple
was
bad
bad.
hits. And I know everyone, they're showing a lot on the interwebs today about the one after him laying on the ground, and then when he went over to the sidelines and he was just kind of like halfway collapsed onto the bleacher seats and stuff. It was a kind of a rough going for Williams, but he
It
had a
was.
decent game. Considering everything that is going on with him, he had a decent game. But yeah,
Yeah.
he was poor guy was
I
just
mean,
kind of running all over the place and getting knocked around.
yeah. I mean, 18 to 31, yeah, that's a lot of missed opportunities. Uh, but no picks, right? So at least some of that has to be given to the quarterback. Uh at least he wasn't throwing it into pressure, trying to force something to happen and giving up possession of the ball. Um and Robert, real quick, I don't mean stupid as in the Vikings are stupid, just my love for the Vikings. Okay. So don't get too mad.
It's all right. You
Uh
can say you think the Vikings are stupid. That's okay. I
yeah.
won't tell anyone.
And Rig, I don't disagree. They've been doing that pretty decent job of that for the last probably 15, 20 years. Um, but I got a feeling that as long as Caleb can get some support, he'll bounce back. He'll be okay.
Yeah,
But he's
I
got to
you
get an
know I
offensive
think I
line.
think he'll end up being a pretty solid player. But yeah, he like you said, he needs some support. He needs a good
Hmm.
coach is really what he needs. You know, just just a solid coach to kind of come in, change the culture, get a winning attitude. All the kind of things you hear whenever they talk about it, but it really is. You see
Yeah,
what I mean. Look at Washington this year. The difference from one year to the next. What a coach does. Um, people thought they were going to suck this year, and Dan Quinn came in and he kind of really turned that team around. So you get the right coach in, and it'll make the team like a whole lot better.
yeah. So speaking of things that might suck or might not suck, BD, I gotta ask you, right? Because you mentioned something about this. You saw the Minnesota uniforms. Okay. What are your thoughts on these whole iced out uniforms, man? And guys that are watching, please let us know what you think about the iced out uniforms also.
You know, we've seen quite a few teams have these uniforms. Seen some NFL teams. Minnesota had it last night. Green Bay had it Sunday night. The Cowboys, I think, had a game earlier this year. The Aggies had one. Longhorns had one. I know there's been some other teams I can't think off the top of my head, but you know I like the uniforms part. What I do not like is Green Bay, Minnesota, Texas A&M, teams that have like just a colored helmet going to a white. Green Bay with a white helmet looks weird. Minnesota, they said that was the first time they've worn a white helmet, ever. They should never do that again. It looked absolutely dumb. A&M when they wear their white helmets, I've never liked it. It should give me a maroon helmet. Give me the yellow helmet for Green Bay. Give me the purple helmet from Minnesota. UT they wear white helmets, so that's not too bad. Uh, as is, but I like the uniforms. I don't like the helmets. It looks dumb. And while we're talking about uniforms, the freaking things that Seattle came out in, my God, those are the ugliest or top three ugliest alt uniforms there is. The Tampa Bay's got their creamsicle uniforms. Those are the Seattle Snot Rockets because it looks absolutely horrendous.
I think I think some of the design inspiration for those uniforms potentially came from Oregon's uniform. When the Ducks changed theirs and went with that crazy weird color scheme, everybody at first was like, "Whoa, I don't know," but then it kind of caught on, and everybody was just like, you just kind of got used to it. So I'd like to think that Seattle kind of took, some inspiration from that and said, well, hey, man, Oregon's pulling off something crazy. Let's do something crazy. And then, of course, as Riggs said, they went with highlighter green and it just looks weird. It's not like the Tampa Bay creamsicle uniforms or like the Patriots old school uniform, something like that. This thing is just a weird color combination.
I
Now,
yeah, the creamsicles, the snot rockets, and I'm trying to think the Pittsburgh, their little bumblebee uniforms. Those are the three off the top of my head that I absolutely hate that I can think of right now.
Pittsburgh I don't hate so much, but that's again because it's more of a throwback style. Um, but that would be like a once a year kind of thing, if that truly was like a retro style back to the beginnings of the Steelers culture. I would be okay with that.
You
I mean,
know,
Green Bay had
they're
blue and
retro
yellow.
for a reason. They did away with them for a reason. Keep them dead.
True, true. But again, when Green Bay was originally the Acme Packers, right, from the Acme Meat Packing Company, who owned the team, um, the blue and yellow or the blue and gold, it's okay. It's nice to see that once in a while. I actually was
But
like blue and brown.
I do like those. Those look fine, but no, not the bumblebee ones.
Um, I'd have to see a picture of the Broncos one to have an opinion on that one, to be honest.
I think I know which
XFL
one
might,
you're talking about,
but
but I gotta refresh my memory on them. That
yeah.
may be our
So yeah,
next poll question is the worst alternate uniform.
we have two poll questions then. Um, but so again, Green Bay won against the highlighters. Uh Probably should have been a little bit stronger of a finish, I think. Um, but I guess a win's a win at this point. So we'll take it and we'll move on to New Orleans this next weekend. Um, I'm fairly confident that should be a win for us. But you never know, right? Green Bay has folded under pressure or lack thereof before. So we'll see ultimately how that goes. True, true, true. Uh Robert, you're just mad because you're an expansion team. That's all. So uh but moving on, I think we should probably talk about the Texans game that you attended.
Yeah, it was fun. It was my first time going to the NRG Stadium. Obviously, like I said last week, my wife is a Dolphins fan. So for her birthday, I got tickets for us to go see the Texans and Dolphins. And it was cool. Obviously met up with our friend Rig and Mr. Predator. Saw them after the game, said hi to them. Always great seeing those guys. um, my wife asked me if I was going to wear a Dolphin shirt to the game. I told her absolutely not. But since I was there to root for the Dolphins, I would compromise and not wear a Cowboys shirt. So I went with the Brahmas instead. Um, we parked in the parking lot, started walking to the stadium. We made it about 50 feet before my wife got booed by some Houston fans. Uh, and then, she laughed about that. But, for the most part, people there, the people that sat around us, they were nice. We were, kind of talking back and forth with them the whole time. It was a fun game. Um, uh, a lot of Houston fans kind of pissed off at some of the officiating. Some of it was understandable. There were some real questionable calls that even I was like, oh, I don't know about that. I was really surprised. The attendance seemed kind of low. There were a lot of empty seats, and there was a lot of Miami colors throughout the stadium. You could see it was probably 15-20% Miami fans, and I was really surprised it was that much. But like I said, there was a lot of empty seats, and I'm not, holiday season, I guess, I don't know, but some friends of a friend, they were talking too. They were at the game, and they said that they were talking about how low attended it was. So it was just kind of an observation that I noticed. Kind of a funny thing that that happened to us. We got picked for the row of the game or whatever, and we ended up getting like a $25 gift card to Chevron, everyone in the row. And they came up and they got us these big signs, and they brought the camera up, and we're gonna hold them up for the jumbotron and stuff. Well, we were on the back side of the row. I was sitting on the aisle seat. My wife was next to me. Well, they saw her Dolphin shirt, and they told us to switch seats because they wanted me to block her out, so you couldn't see the Dolphin shirt on the jumbotron. And on the other side, the front side of the aisle, there was a guy that was wearing a Dolphins hat, and they made him take the hat off. So it was kind of funny. But they didn't realize that I hit their jumbotron with the horns forward during when they had us on the screen. So they all got a little taste of that. But
Good.
It was a really cool experience. Obviously, I think the big the big moment in the game was the player that got hurt. And he was, it was a real scary moment. He was down for 15-20 minutes. It was kind of a nasty hit, a real bang play, kind of one of those ones that is not really a whole lot you can do about it as a defender, but it's just one of those things that happens. But but I think hats off to the fans, the Houston fans. They were real respectful when he was on the field. We've seen a lot, mostly Philly fans, because they suck, booing players when they're down and stuff like that. Houston wasn't like that. They were, they were worried. They were quiet, and they were real respectful during that time. So, hats off to them for that. One thing I noticed too, and Houston, they didn't show many replays. I'm used to Brahmas games right now. They show replay almost after every play. They'll show what happened. Houston doesn't do that. They maybe 10 replays all game they showed on the jumbotron, which it was really interesting that they didn't show more. It, obviously if it was a really big play, they'd show that. But even, a little 10-yard pass, they wouldn't. So that was really interesting and really curious why they wouldn't do that.
Yeah, that's really surprising.
And I'm pretty sure when I went to the Cowboys game last year, I know they showed more. So I don't think it's an NFL thing. I mean, my NFL experience is, Jerry World last year and NRG Stadium this year. So that's about it. I don't have a whole lot to compare it to.
Yeah. Well, the main thing is, you went and you had fun. You got to see some of our friends, right? And then you got to see a pretty decent football game
Yeah.
overall.
It was an
So
enjoyable game, and really the most important part was my wife had fun. Even though the Dolphins lost, she had fun. She enjoyed it. I
yeah.
will say, like I said, Houston fans were great to us for the most part. There were a couple douchebags when we were walking out of the stadium, but they had been drinking and stuff, so whatever. Ignore them. But my God, the parking lot, everyone was a freaking douchebag in the parking lot. They just don't know how to merge over there. I don't know what it is, but it was ridiculous.
Well, driving out of that stadium never is fun. You know what else isn't fun? Being a UIW fan right now, right? So we're switching over to college football. In the FCS, I believe it was the quarterfinals. Incarnate Word took on South Dakota State Jackalopes or Jackrabbits or whatever. Um, and did not turn out well for them at all. Um, First quarter looked pretty decent, right? I watched a little bit of the game. Didn't get a chance to watch the whole entire thing. And who would? Again, first quarter, uh, the South Dakota put up 7 on Incarnate Word, but it was still pretty tight, right? Um, and then the second quarter happened, and South Dakota put up 24 unanswered points. Okay. Uh, so that's 31 at the half. And then it only got worse from there, right? Uh Incarnate Word did manage to put 14 up on the board in the third quarter, but that was the only points that they got. Uh the quarterback for UIW, um Zach Calzada, stats wise looked like a pretty decent game. 37 to 51, 258 yards, one touch, one pick, right? Uh but yeah, I mean, this game was just a slaughter, and it was kind of rough to watch. So I feel bad for the UIW fans because I know there was a lot riding on the season, and they were picked to be, one of the finalists in the bracket there, and it just did not work out at all. Coach Tom, friend of the show, had said when he was watching it, it really looked like a bunch of South Texas boys who showed up and played a game in the cold and did not want to be there, so they did not play.
Wow,
Um,
that sucks for
Fairly
them. But
accurate
you know what?
description.
They had a hell of a season. So hats off to them. And they'll hopefully they come back next year. I want to go back a couple. We had a couple questions in the chat regarding the Houston game. First, Rig, absolutely. I don't know what the hell they were doing in that parking lot, but there was about 10 of them just standing around doing absolutely nothing. And then for XFL Mike G's for the Brahma shirt, yes, actually, the people behind us when they made us, me and my wife, switch seats for the jumbotron, he made a comment of, oh, well, they'll make her hide the Miami shirt, but they don't see that you have a Brahma shirt on. And I had a few couple. No one said horns forward or whatever, but had a couple hey Roughnecks comments, but it was noticed.
Well, that's good. At least there's recognition of the league in general, right?
Yeah, yeah,
That's always a good thing. And then I know XFL Mike G has made a couple of posts about seeing the UFL commercials during the NFL.
yeah.
So we're
I
definitely
started seeing
getting,
those a couple weeks ago, so it's
yeah.
you see it coming even closer.
Hmm. Well, and we know about like the event out at La Cantera this weekend that we went to. We talked about that. Uh, Actually, we didn't talk about that yet, have we?
No, because we didn't have a horns forward got
Yeah.
pushed to Friday
Okay.
night, so we haven't.
Right.
It was a pretty cool event. Coach Wade was out there, new quarterback Kellen Mond, and then Jordan Williams were out there. Real cool, real cool people. I mean, we stood around and we talked to Coach for a while. I got to chat with Kellen Mond. and Jordan Williams too for a good while, and just hanging out, talking football, talking whatever. It was a really really cool time. And
Yeah.
I think we said it during the thing. Coach Wade is just so easy to talk to, and just such a nice guy. We want him to adopt us as like our grandpa or something, man.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
just call us every now and then. Tell us you're proud of us or something, man. That's all we need. But it's just so cool just talking about football to him. He did make a
Yep.
little joke at the Cowboys' expense, but it was enjoyable.
Well, he can get away with it. He was the head coach there for a while, so let him
Exactly.
take his shot. He also did when we were talking about the NFC North when I was talking to him. He did remind me that his son is the defensive coordinator, I believe, for the Vikings. And I told him I was sorry to hear that. We weren't going to hold it against him. Um, and so, real quick, I want to make sure that we show this comment. Mike G is 100% right.
Yeah.
Uh, the schedule release date has been confirmed. We should be seeing that on the 29th. I'm not
It's
sure about
the 29th during the NFL game and the 31st during the college bowl game. So
okay,
I'm assuming they're going to release half and half. But it's
probably.
kind of weird. But hey, hey, at least we're getting something.
Yeah. Well, and that would be fine, right? Release the first half and then the second half. That way it keeps people interested in watching and things moving forward. Um, but again, that event is also going to be going on this weekend. The Brahmas event
Yep.
at the shops at Lock and Terra, the Brahma Tree. I don't know if anybody's going to be there at this one, but it should still be a fun event.
I think there are going to be players there. I am not 100% sure, but I think so. But it is kind of the same as what it was this past week. Bring a toy, you can get some Brahma swag. They've got shirts, hoodies. They got some beanies there, a bunch of stuff. And if you just come and bring a toy, drop it off, donate it, some free swag. So
Yeah.
really
So
really
it
cool
was a
event.
lot of
And
fun.
it was kind of great seeing not all the Brahma fans showed up, but a few of them did, and it was just kind of another one of those. Man, we're just taking another step towards the start of the regular season. We're starting to see these people a little more, starting to have fun, have kind of enjoy time with our Brahmas familia. So it's just I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. So speaking of having fun, we know uh, that there's a young man who's having a lot of fun celebrating the fact that he won the Heisman Trophy, and that would be Colorado's Travis Hunter. And I know we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. Uh, Not necessarily a difference of opinion here, but a little bit of a split, if you will. Um, I think that Travis Hunter did enough to earn that on both sides of the ball. And I know Genty was definitely one of the front runners for that trophy, and I know you were kind of leaning towards voting for Genty.
A little
But
bit,
what are
yeah.
your thoughts on Hunter getting it
So
overall?
it's the closest Heisman vote in a really long time. I forget what they said, and I think it's deservedly so. It was very much you had two schools of thought. Genty was amazing at one thing. One of the best running back seasons. College football running back seasons that we've ever seen. Um, Travis Hunter was good, good to really good at two separate things. Um, I do. So I don't disagree with with him winning the Heisman. I definitely see how how the voters thought that way, because it is he had the way he can control a game on either side of the ball, versus Gentry. He's only offensive, but Travis Hunter, he was able to turn the game around, be a game changer on both sides. And I think a lot of people are that are upset about it are really discounting that. And I think that's unfair to Travis Hunter. I was leaning to Gentry for my if I who I thought should be it, but I'm not upset that Travis Hunter won. I think he had every right to win it just as well as Genty did.
Yeah. So I do apologize. I dropped out there for a little bit, and that's okay. I think the right decision was made ultimately because, as you said, while Genty did something incredibly well, it was only one thing, whereas Travis Hunter uh, had more of an impact on the game playing both sides of the ball. So I think ultimately it went to the right individual. Um, it's nice though that he won that because the last person to win the award that same way basically was Rashawn Salam in 1994, right? So it's nice to see that somebody that can play both sides of the ball kind of gets that recognition. So just a little, Heisman facts for you. Um, I did not watch the Army Navy game, but it looked like it wound up being an incredible game. You want to talk about that? Did you watch
It
it at
was,
all?
I watched some of it. Obviously, well, it was going on while we were doing the Brahmas event. I kind of caught the tail end of it. It was uh, obviously Navy won, upset Army. Um, I think I love the spirit of that game. It's uh, obviously it's two teams that want to beat each other. You know, every single year, uh, and but there is still so much respect for each other. Um, and I think after kind of the rivalry week games that we had, kind of we talked about it. The players that were going and planting the flags on the field and the fights and stuff. The comment was made on the broadcast. Um, and it was, hey, it was about how much they respect each other. And it's like you're not going to see these guys planting the flag on the other field. And the analyst said, his comment was the only flag these guys care about planting is the American flag when they're on the battlefield together. So I thought it was a really cool comment, and just kind of just a show of how much both those teams, while yes they're bitter rivals and stuff, it's still they have such a high amount of respect for each other. So it was just something great that I noticed that I wanted to kind of talk about.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's two things that were really impressive about this game. First and foremost, most all of the action was done on the ground, right? There was so much rushing yardage. Uh, the quarterback for Navy had 204 yards. Like that's insane. Uh, and then it was definitely spread around on the Army side. Not nearly as much, obviously, because they only scored 13 points. But again, a lot more ground offense than there was air offense.
Oh yeah, and that's kind
Secondly,
of always been for those two teams. They have been primary running attack. I mean, hell, there were 25 passes thrown the entire game. So
and this right here was the second thing that I was going to say. Both schools getting
yeah,
together to sing each other's school anthems. That is what it should be about, right? So, regardless of how deep that rivalry may run, having the respect for your opponent and having the respect for each other and the fans to go out and sing each other's school songs, man, that is what it's about. So, hats off to those young men, and I'm very excited. Uh, Jeremy, good to see you, man. Um,
good
I'm,
evening,
I'm
Jeremy.
hoping
Eagles still
we're
suck.
gonna. I was gonna try and avoid that.
Nope,
Okay.
nope, nope.
Um,
Suck it, Philly.
what you can't avoid though is the bowl games that are going to be coming up, right? And some of them should be good. Some of them are going to be not so good. So, uh, what are you expecting from some of the bowl games that we're going to see this week? Or well,
So so we've already had
starting
one bowl game. It
tomorrow,
was
in
what
fact.
was it? It was the the Salute to Veterans Bowl. That was the one that played after the Heisman. Um, that turned out to be a pretty decent game. South Alabama versus Western Michigan. It was a close game. Um, you've got you got Memphis, which is the first ranked team to play a bowl game right now. They're actually playing right now against West Virginia. They're up 10-0. Uh, you've got a lot of the I don't care about them bowl games going, but starting this weekend, you've got the first round of the playoffs. Uh, Starting on Saturday, I think the first game, if I'm looking at it correct, is SMU and Penn State. No, I'm sorry. Indiana Notre Dame is the first playoff game. Um,
Yes.
so that's Friday night. So
Yeah.
you got a bunch Saturday. So yeah, you've got a couple of these, I don't know, Brillo pad bowls or whatever you want to, whatever little sponsor they are. But you've
Well,
got the first round, the big first round games coming in.
this is going to be one of those inconsequential bowls. But what the heck is the Gasparilla Bowl, right? Like, I've got to ask those questions. But
Yeah.
anyways, yeah, some of the playoff games, the bowl games are starting this weekend. Right. I'm excited for UTSA and Coastal Carolina.
Yep.
Again, UTSA has made it yet another bowl game appearance. Let's hope they can get the win. I think they've got one win out of what, three or four appearances. Let's hope they can get another one this weekend.
Did it
Well, Monday.
wasn't last year their first bowl win?
I believe so, yes. I'd have to go back and look exactly at the stats and everything, but last year would have been their if if that's the one that they won, that would have been their first win.
Yeah,
So,
I believe so. It's been a year, so
yeah,
but
uh,
you've got all those, and then A&M's playing their bowl game next week on the 27th.
on Friday, yeah,
So
and then you've got the much anticipated Alamo Bowl for the fan or for the residents of San Antonio because they're going to get to see Coach Prime. So,
yep,
uh, I'm sure
Coach,
those
Coach Prime
tickets.
and the Heisman Trophy winner. I mean, I'm hoping that Travis Hunter doesn't sit. Shador Sanders, unfortunately, we are seeing some of that a lot. That's kind of the what you see in college football now is players that are going to the NFL will sit out bowl games. I really hope that they don't just for the fans that are at the game. Um, but we'll see.
And then definitely don't want to forget about our friends up in San Marcos, right? January 3rd, they're going to be playing North Texas in the First Responder Bowl. Probably not the biggest game, but it's going to be a pretty big game. Yeah, at least for North Texas. So, fingers crossed, hopefully they can pull that off and get a win. They are playing North Texas. And if anybody saw the movie with Scott Bakula way back in the 80s, where they were part of North Texas, there's going to be a little fondness or a little bit of despise towards that team. So it should turn out to be a pretty good game. So we're definitely excited about that. Uh, we already talked about the UFL schedule release
Yep.
and pretty much covered everything that's on our agenda for tonight. I guess the only thing we have left is fantasy football updates and our mockery of one league for doing a double elimination for the playoff games.
Oh man, I don't. Whatever. I'm not in the playoffs, so I don't care about that league anymore. How'd you do? How'd you do this weekend in your fantasy games?
So I did well in two of the three leagues. Overall, surprising end to one of the leagues that I was in. I made it into the first round of playoffs and got eliminated. And it was specifically because the guy that I was playing, um, he had uh, he had Josh Allen and he also had Evans, right?
Ooh.
And probably Judy didn't hurt much either, right? So I got all things considered, I mean, I came back from nothing. I mean, I had little tiny baby Kyler Murray as my quarterback, who absolutely hurt me. I did have Gibbs and Anders, or I'm sorry, Adams. So that helped out a lot. And Philly's defense, thank you, Philly, right? They got me some decent points. But the problem is, I also had Waddle. Um, oh no, I'm sorry, Waddle was on the bench, thank God. Uh, I had Robinson who only put up 14 points and Nakua who only put up 17, right? That didn't
Only
help me.
14, only 17.
Well, all things considered, it wasn't enough to cover for stupid little baby Kyler Murray, who only put up 10 points, right? And the worst part is I also had neighbors. I had neighbors on the bench. He put up 24. I could have used that. Um, I had May, who I sat on the bench over Murray, and that would have been enough to potentially win me that game, right? He put up 17 and a half points. I mean, and I could have used that. Him and neighbors would have put me over the top, and I would have gone on to the second round of playoffs. But
So
it's
you
fine
want to
considering. Well, all things considered, if you look at how I drafted, which was auto draft, and what the experts said about my draft, I was supposed to finish last, and I finished fourth in the league. So, I mean, we still got some more games to go, but that's like the winner's consolation bracket. It's just to make you feel better about losing
yeah.
first. Um,
So
so
you want to feel bad about your little baby Kyler Murray. In one of my leagues, so I was in two playoff games this week. One of the games I won pretty handedly, even though I chose Herbert over Aaron Rodgers, which
ooh,
I'm glad that didn't come back to bite me. But in my other league, yeah, you got 10 points out of little baby Kyler Murray. I played Brock Purdy and
oh,
and Cooper Cup. Two
mm,
players that played Thursday night got me a combined less than 3 points, 2.7 whatever. So
that's rough.
I ended up losing my game by 0.86 points is what I ended up losing my game by. So the guy he had Darnold and Jefferson going last night. And it was close. I was hoping for one more sack of Darnold because that would have gotten me a win, but it wasn't meant to be. But yeah,
Wait, were
I was not very happy with Cup and Brock Purdy.
you were hoping for a Darnold sack?
Hey
Mm,
now, hey now.
that's a borderline comment, sir.
Hey, never mind, never mind. But you are in the playoffs of another league, one that our friend XFL Mike G here runs. You can't tell me how you're doing in that because the first round of the playoffs are not over. This is a
That's true.
this is
So
a 2 week round of the playoffs.
right. So I don't. You could come back. I mean, what happens in a tie, right? It's double elimination. What if you split? What happens then, right? The, the planets don't line up right. Things don't work. Gravity shuts off after
Well,
like
I think
seven.
it's a combination of both scores. So it's not like an average or whatever. It's whatever you score that last week, whatever you score this week, whoever has the most.
Okay, so then
You
I
know,
definitely got to put it on uh Waxenfelter so I can get that win
yeah.
and I can move on. Because again, all things considered, even if I scratch at this point, that team was only predicted to finish at what, like fifth or sixth. and here I am in the final, or I'm in the playoffs, right? And yes, 100% I snuck in, and it's okay, right? Just like the Packers are going to sneak
All
in and
right.
get eliminated first round, it's fine. Um, but it it's been a lot of fun because we've really gotten to chat with and know a lot of these guys from around the podcast and UFL world. Some of the guys from Canada who are really big on football, specifically the CFL. Um, it's just been nice to make some of those connections and play some fantasy football, even though we're
Yeah.
not really doing anything except picking guys and hoping to God that they actually produce some numbers, right?
And
So
it's been fun to make fun of XFL Mike G's stupid fantasy rules. So just kind of razz him a little bit with those.
yeah, it's nice to get them all worked up. The thing that I'm happy about the most is the league that I'm in with Coach Tom. Okay. And the reason why I say that is because Coach Tom knows that I have a friend of me in that league, and I like the guy. I really do. But he's one of those guys that uh you don't like, you can only take him in small doses, and then he gets on your nerves. And so he got eliminated as of last week. Okay. And so he is out. He is now in the consolation bracket. And he was the guy who won the league last year and could not stop talking about how great he was at our draft party. And I'm like, okay, cool. I set my team to auto draft. I think I picked two players and then let the NFL or let ESPN decide. And I'm number one in that league. I've got a bye this week. I don't have to do anything. Now, if only I could in real life bench those guys and rest them and have them ready for the second
Right.
round of playoffs. That would be nice. But yeah, so I'm going on to the playoffs in two of the three, and the one that I got eliminated in. Well, I'm in the playoffs in one. I'm going to the playoffs in another one, and I got eliminated in the third one, and that's fine, right?
Yeah.
Because again, the team wasn't predicted to do anything, right? It would be like the Browns, who were never predicted to do anything, and then they make the playoffs, right?
We made
So
playoffs last year, so
yeah, you take your moral win, and you go home, and you're just happy with not finishing last. So again, fantasy football updates, that's kind of where we're at. Looking forward, we obviously have
So that being
uh
said, for me, I only care about one team now because all my other ones I lost. I don't care. I don't care about those consolation brackets. You know what? I don't deserve to play in them. So I'm whatever. I
they still count for something,
No, they don't. No, they don't. It's
right?
I'm not here for fantasy football participation trophies. All right, I'm here to win, and if I don't win, I don't care.
True. So then Mike's comment again, right? The adjustments and stuff next year, not going to matter because you'll be complaining about it still regardless. So if you can't win, what's the point?
I don't I don't care about it. If I don't
So
win, I don't care.
there you go. But anyways, again, Mike,
Ooh,
thank you
here's your
for
eighth place fantasy football trophy.
uh-uh.
Eh.
Mike, thank you for putting it on and running it. You can adjust
Mike,
stuff next
you
year
know
if you
what? You
want
could go
to.
standard rules next year, and I'm still going to give you crap for it. So that's all right.
Just what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
But we appreciate you doing it. It's a lot of fun. And it's fun to just tease you about it and give you a
yeah.
little bit of a hard
You
time.
know what? At
Um,
least, and this I said this the other day in our chat. At least it's not a 20 team league that I was in with some UFL fans last year. That was absolutely ridiculous. So, you know,
True. Okay, so let's go ahead and wrap it up. Like we're over on our time, which we always are over on our time. Go figure. Uh this next week, what are we looking forward to? Who are the Cowboys playing?
Cowboys are playing Tampa Bay. Once again, I don't care if we lose. I just don't want to get embarrassed or do something absolutely stupid that shows up on Sports Center for the rest of the week.
Yes. Um the Texans are playing the Chiefs. That should be a pretty interesting game. Because I
That's
think the
a
Texans,
Saturday game.
it is, and it's on Telemundo and NBC and some
That's a
other.
that's a Peacock game. I don't think it's on NBC. I thought it was just on Peacock.
No, it's It's on NBC. It specifically says it on the NFL website. NBC,
Okay.
Telemundo, and Universo
Oh, okay.
or
Okay.
Universo, right? But it is going to be international. It's I believe it's a U.S. game, but it's being broadcast internationally. So again, reaching out to our friends outside of the U.S., trying to bring in some more fans and make some more connections. Of course, we've got New Orleans. We've got New Orleans on the Monday night game. Um, that could be an ugly game for us. It's at least at home, so but you never know, right? Things could go horribly wrong. You never know. Um, I hope you guys have to play the Bucks in the creamsicle uniforms. I'm hoping for that, right? Just for it to be a Technicolor nightmare.
Yeah.
Um, but then Chicago is playing the Bears. Or, Chicago is playing the Bears. Chicago isn't playing at all, really. But no, Chicago's playing Detroit in Chicago. Um, and so that could potentially catapult if God forbid this happens. Um, but if somehow the Bears manage to pull a win out against Detroit, um, that could put Minnesota in first place, and it could wind up tying us with Detroit. Well, no, I don't think, because we'd be at 11-4, so we'd still be in third place. But there could be a switch up for first and second place, and keep in mind Vikings are going to be playing the Seahawks that we just played this last week. So they may potentially be coming out looking for revenge. Who knows? I'm getting the mad dog. So I think I probably need to get off the show here. Um, but again, lots of football going on this weekend.
Are you
Bowl
saying
games are
your
starting.
producer is yelling cut?
Yeah, yeah. Producers yelling, wrap it up quickly. So, um, guys, I want to thank you all for a great year this year, for all the support, all the interaction, all the comments. We will still be posting stuff on social media, so make sure that you're checking in on Facebook and X and Instagram and whatever. Right? We may do some get-togethers and do some live feeds on YouTube or something like that, but we're not actually going to be doing the show. Uh, but again, thank you to everybody. Thank you to XFL Mike G. Thank you to Alternative Football Network. Thank you to Pro Arena Talk and Bobby Otten. I haven't seen him in a little while. Haven't heard from him. Hopefully everything's going good for him. I'll probably be messaging him after the show. But thank you to all your to all our fans, or all our friends that actually put up with us every week. Thank you to the guys over at Fuel. We appreciate your support as well. Uh, Again, though, most importantly, thank you guys. So, from my family to yours, I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas. If you don't celebrate Christmas, then I wish you the happiest of holidays, whatever it is that you guys celebrate. I hope you have a joyous time with family and friends, and that your time is special and cherished to you.
Yep. Like you said, I mean, thank you guys. I hope all you guys have a just a blessed holiday, Merry Christmas, just a great New Year's. Just enjoy the time
Happy
with
Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah. Enjoy the time with friends, family, loved ones, just the people you care about. Just take some time to spend with your family. It's just that's kind of what the holidays are about. So hope everyone has some great holidays, and we will see you guys at the beginning of next year.
Yep. Happy holidays, everybody. Hope Santa stuffs your stocking good. Horns forward, go back,
Whoa.
go.